1, 2, 3, 4. Palapalooza, Palapalooza. We're talking to you. I'm Palapalooza. Ernie, Sprung Monkey, thanks for being here, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Still rocking and rolling after... I was trying to figure it out. When did you guys first form? 93?
Inception was, I think, no, it was actually earlier than that. 93.
91, huh?
We were, definitely 90, 91 is when we kind of formed.
Right.
By 93, I believe we had, we had a couple demos out. We were already like gigging and stuff.
Right.
And shortly after released our first album. But yeah, somewhere in the like 90, 91, I want to say. I was pretty much right out of high school. Yeah.
And we were talking about that. We're in El Cajon right now.
El Cajon? That's the anus of San Diego.
You're over there in Santee, so we're neighbors. And you went to Granite Hills High School.
Granite Hills Eagle.
Yeah,
I'm an Eagle indeed.
Well, right on, brother. So, damn, 30 years almost of playing in Sprung Monkey. And I think you've had some time off here and there, right? Mm-hmm. And you've had some side projects. Accident Experiment, I think, was one of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, we... somewhere along the way, we've had our breaks here and there, but definitely had a very steady stint from our first album to, I want to say like third album. Like we were pretty steady, touring everywhere, internationally, nationally. Obviously, we were fortunate to have a hit with Get Him Out of Here, which, catapulted us to be able to do those things, because prior to that, as any band knows, you're struggling, and you're trying just to get any tour, any gig that you can.
Right.
That song becoming a hit provided us the ability to all of a sudden have interest, obviously, and have purpose in that sense, on a commercial basis anyway. So. Right. Then with that, we toured our asses off. I mean, we went all over Europe. We went to Japan. We all over the States, of course. Australia many times, which is cool and interesting in itself because Australia became our number one market. Even above here, I think Unwritten Law says that as well, right? They do incredibly well as well. Yeah, absolutely. We've been with them. We've toured with them. In 2014 was the last time we toured with them there.
Okay.
But that was an amazing tour because it was us and them. So it was just, man, every night was crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was really an amazing time because we were fortunate to gather, a pretty well established following there. Right. So we were able to go back sometimes twice a year, for a good decade or so.
Awesome.
That was just steady. Australia, still doing the US and, and stuff like that. But really, that just became kind of our home,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been out there to Australia?
It was
that last tour, huh?
No, it was one after that. I want to say 2000. Must have been 16. Yeah, we did a headlining tour ourselves there.
Awesome, man.
Which was in conjunction with Taylor Steele, Momentum, and that whole surf thing. Which it was kind of like that's really what catapulted us over there, especially because of the surf community over there really took to the soundtrack of those films, and we were highlighted in those films, and so that's kind of how that all took off. But we went over there and did that. And which was awesome. And also, I don't know if you know, but there's a recent documentary that came out called Momentum Generation, which is about all of that. It's about how all these surfers that were underground really all of a sudden exploded, like Machado and Kelly Slater and all that, just went to the mainstream, really took surfing to the mainstream. Well, along with that was all the bands that they listened to, and the whole scene and everything, which we were a very big part of at the time. So we were fortunate to be added to that documentary, which was on HBO. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it because it's really, really well done.
Wow.
It's excellent. And it's
cool.
got music from us, Pennywise, Unwritten Law, and, just that whole generation.
Yeah, I've always thought about that, like getting my music. I'm a local musician as well, and a lot of locals listen. Getting it into movies and stuff like that, it's just not always the easiest thing. Like, what would you advise in that regard?
Well, that's a very good question,
right?
And which I get asked.
Can't give away your secrets, bro. No,
there's really not a secret. There is a method. There's several ways, really.
Write a great song first and foremost.
I think,
right?
it starts with writing some good music that that could be something placed in a movie or something like that. But beyond that, for us, I can say that what worked and what allowed us to be. I mean, we've had music in, I don't even know, several major motion pictures.
10 Things I Hate About You, bro. I was actually reading up on your wiki. Yeah, quite a few movies for sure.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Yeah.
Dude, where's your car?
Dude, it's not funny, dude. The car's gone.
Yeah.
Varsity Blues. I mean,
there's Party Like a Rock Star and then Get 'Em Out of Here. Kind of the two main mainstream movie songs.
10 Things I Hate About You,
10 Things I Hate About You. I think
that was Get 'Em Out of Here. That's when it was a hit.
See what kind of trouble we could get into. What trouble we could get into.
It was a big movie. And so for us, that was a huge ad there. Now, what, in conjunction with the fact that we were mainstream at the time, like that was like, we were hot. We were actually, we had a top Billboard song for that year. That itself was already a lot of visibility, a lot of interest was garnered from that. But beyond that, we did do a publishing deal. So that would be my little kind of like, advice thing or whatever would be, if you can get a good publishing deal, and that is not easy to do, it can really amount to something that really will pay you royalties for. I mean, we're still receiving royalties from all these things, and it's something that we will probably see, hopefully forever. I mean, because it's with syndication. It just multiplies. I'll give you a perfect example. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was one of the bigger things we were added to.
She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness.
And we were added to an episode, and then became 2 episodes, 3 episodes. All of a sudden, we have several songs on these episodes, and this is before it became a hit. Then it becomes a hit. So now it goes from one network that's playing it to now 10 networks, to then 20 to 30, to then eventually hundreds worldwide. So that's...
You become Buffy's biggest fan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ernie,
we love Buffy.
Keep that shit going.
Now,
even reruns? You're getting paid on that?
Everything.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
wow.
Everything that plays. And,
Dude,
and really what was key for us was the publishing deal, because what happened was the publisher had a lot of connections, and that's what you need with a publishing deal. If you do a publishing deal, because what you're doing is you're signing away some of your rights. Right. Like anything. You're going to get something, but you got to give something to get something. So when you do that, you're in the hopes that the publisher that's going to be representing you really does have the in, and really does have those connections to get you into those markets and to those ads. Right. They did. So fortunate for us, we were added to many, many shows and lots of movies, and it went for years. Really, I would say a good solid decade that we were added to stuff. So it just compiled after a while, and that's probably one of the best moves we've ever made as a band. That's right, for sure.
That's so great to hear. Who was your publisher?
Surf Mutt. Okay. So it's through Surf Dog Records. Okay. That was actually a publisher through. But, got it. They did an amazing job. I have to say they really they were able to place ads in so many movies and TV shows, which was great. And
they got you hooked up with the surf scene, or was it vice versa?
No, that kind of was no connection there. We were already. I have to credit Taylor Steele really when it comes to that, because he really launched that, and then from then on he kept adding us to his movies, and so it just built and built and built, and then being on like the X Games and things like that, that just were really helped to just launch that whole extreme sports kind of thing.
Very cool. Awesome, dude. Bringing it to present day, Saturday, going down at Music Box.
Yes.
With Buck 09.
Yeah, I know.
When's the last time you played with them, dude?
My town, on my street, give me peace of
Oh wow, it's been years. I can't even tell you, but I do remember where. I just can't tell you what year. But
Where was that at?
we played with them at Cain's.
I was gonna say that, bro.
Yeah, we did a show at
Don't you
Cain's.
miss that spot?
I do.
Yeah.
It was one of our favorite places to play. We killed it there. I mean, we had some of our best shows there.
Right.
And it was perfect because it was, at that time, you know, we really still had a very big draw, but our draw had grown. You know, so it went from like, it was interesting because it went from like us playing at Soma All Ages
Right.
and getting this huge draw to then us, you know, through the years growing, our draw grew up. So now they're like over 18, 19, 20, and soon they're 21.
Right.
And then we were playing Cain's, which had, I think, capacity of around 700-800. So all of a sudden we're packing those, selling out that venue.
Yeah.
Because they used to all go to Soma. Now they're coming to see us, and be able to drink while
They're
they see
ready
us.
to drink, yeah. Let's have some alcohol now.
So it was a perfect kind of transition,
Right.
venue. And it was just cool, 'cause, right on the boardwalk, right on the beach. It was just
So
a cool
cool.
vibe.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I was sad to see it go.
They tried to do something with Soundwave, I think, after that, right? But that just didn't pick up, and now it's the Draft, I think. It's just kind of a bar.
Yeah, beer.
But
yeah. But it was fun. Those are good times. And that was the last time we played with Buck 09.
Okay.
We did a show with them there. I probably, a rough guess would be mid-2000s maybe.
Okay, so it's been a while, over a decade.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And they're dropping a new full length, it sounds like. That's cool. Local legends as
Very
well, Buck
cool.
09.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're pretty close with them, huh? Them, Under
Yeah.
Law, all
Oh,
these
yeah.
local guys.
Well,
Yeah.
it's such a small world.
Totally.
In
Small
music, as
community
you
as
know.
well. Yeah.
And with those guys, you may not know this, but John, and not a lot of people know this, was the original singer for Sprung Monkey.
No shit.
No shit.
Wow.
Not a lot of people know it, and it's one of those things that just, he was the first guy that we had for a little while.
Crazy,
and
dude.
ends up that eventually he ends up with Buck 09 and does his thing as well. But yeah, he sang for us for a few months.
Totally coincidental. Wow, that's crazy. And let's talk about the Sprung Monkey lineup. It is original, right? The original five guys, or who's playing in Sprung now?
No, it's not original, but it's
close.
It's
right?
close. It's close. There's been some changes, but so Steve, the singer, Mike, one of the guitarists, and me are all original. We're talking
Okay, cool.
from the beginning.
Right.
So three out of the five have maintained from the get-go.
Awesome.
Outside of that, Ryan, who's playing bass, has been playing with us. He's the newest for just probably, a few years.
Okay.
He's not on any album, so he hasn't. He didn't record with us. He came after the last album.
Okay.
And so he's the new guy. William replaced Frank, our original guitarist, who was not on any album. So William really you can consider original because he's been with us since album 1.
Got it.
So yeah,
Okay.
so that's kind of how that breaks down.
Oh, dude. Steve's brother was in the band as well, right? Steve Summers' brother?
Yeah, Mike.
Mike is his
Mike
brother.
Summers, yeah, he's the other guitarist. So William and Mike are guitarists.
Yeah, right on.
And
Very cool.
Mike's from the beginning as well.
I don't know if you remember, but we used to jam with you guys over off Trolley, by the trolley station here in El Cajon.
Where we still are.
Are you still over
To
there?
this day,
My
yeah.
band 20 Year Fix was with Greg and Matt of Mix Mob.
Okay.
Who I think you're pretty close with as well, right? You've played some shows with them?
Yeah,
Mix Mob?
for sure. Back
Yeah.
in the day, yep.
I'm going to get them under here, under the Palapa to jam some acoustic songs
cool.
in a couple months, yeah.
That'd be cool.
'Cause I think they're doing like some reunion shows and shit like that.
Oh,
so,
nice.
yeah.
It's cool when bands, that have been here for years and decades come back,
Right.
and are able to reform and do stuff.
Yeah.
Why not? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
It's fun at the very least.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, for us, it's like that's what keeps it alive at the end of the day, ultimately.
Right.
Because for us, obviously these days it isn't what it was, for decades. But now it's like just, it's all about we still love to play. We still love to make music together, and there's nothing like the energy when you're on stage either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no substitute for that. So if you want
Right.
that feeling, you have to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And I'm born and raised San Diego. I've been playing in bands since '98, dude. So
Very
Sprung
cool.
Monkey, Unwritten Law. You guys have always. I've always had a respect for what you guys have done locally. You guys, and on a global level,
Very cool.
you've taken it to that next level. And I'll never forget when I originally heard about Ernie from Sprung Monkey. He was the drummer that was sideways on stage.
Wow, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Do you still do that?
No, I put that away.
That was your shtick, huh?
It was for a little while. I didn't originate it by any means, but I kind of made it my own thing.
Right. It got out there. You got a name for that a little bit, you know?
Yeah, people really liked it, you know, and they were all about it. And I'd get questions all the time. Why do you do that? And this and that. And, you know, like, how long are you going to do it for? You know, like forever? And I'm like, I don't know. At the time, I thought so. But after a while, you know, what I found was that I lost a bit of connection with the crowd.
Right.
Because I'm looking this way.
You're looking like side stage.
Yeah, I'm looking at exactly. And after a while, I was like, man, I want to be looking out there,
right.
You know? And so one day, just after a few years of it, I turned it around, turned it regular, and I was like,
hello,
people. Yeah, there they are, you know, and I can just feel the energy more, and just, I like that point of view better now.
What was your original intention for doing that?
Okay, honestly, here it is. Who I got it from, because, you know, everybody gets something from everybody, right?
Right, sure.
The first, and I don't even know if they did it all the time, but they did it this one night that I saw them and was blown away by it. So if you're familiar with the Canadian punk band called No Means No.
One fine day, I will settle up.
They're amazing.
Okay.
You should definitely check them out. I don't even know if they're still around anymore, but back in the day, I mean, like early 80s and stuff, they were just out of control. Their music's insane. But anyway, the drummer, I saw them at, do you remember what is now Brick by Brick? It was the Spirit Club.
Yeah.
I saw them at the Spirit.
Nice.
And the drummer was set up sideways.
Nice.
That far back. And I was like, this is
mid 90s.
Yeah, I was like, this is a trip. This is different. And so I kind of was like, yeah, I'm going to try that. And then I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I always remember hearing about that. So I thought I'd bring that up. Who were your influences, dude, back in the day to get into drumming?
Drumming, like I have a few. I mean, now it's broadened, of course, through time, but originally,
yeah, who'd you see back in the day that you were like, besides that band, but you know, other bands are just I want to do that.
I think my first influence, my true first drumming influences were Peter Criss from Kiss.
Right.
Just because, you know, I became a Kiss fan literally at probably 7-8 years old. My big brother at the time loved Kiss, my older brother, and he turned me on to him, you know, and I'm just a little kid, you know, and kind of like copying what he's listening to and digging it, you know, and then I just like the whole makeup thing, of course, like all the kids did.
Sure.
Yeah, but Peter Criss also was known for his drum solos and, you know, extravagant drum set.
Right.
So it was very impressionate, you know, like it was just, I really took to that. So Peter Criss, and then I discovered Led Zeppelin shortly after that. So John Bonham absolutely was an influence. And then shortly after that, I think what became my biggest influences were when I discovered Rush and Neil Peart.
There you go.
For sure. That took it to another level of where I wanted to take my drumming. And then also Stuart Copeland from The Police. They would probably be my two biggest influences. And then it just broadens from there.
Sure.
I discovered this drummer, and I like this and that, you know, but they would be the top 4 probably early on.
Awesome. Neil Peart made you want to add like 20 more toms, right?
Yeah, that's when I had the big kit, and you know, and it was cool. But also just his style, you know, his his ability to, you know, and just the whole prog rock thing was really cool. You know, especially then when when I think the very first album that I heard was Moving Pictures. And, you know, Tom Sawyer, I mean, just legendary drumming going on, and just the ideas he had for drumming and stuff, and the way that the patterns and the way, you know, it was just very structured and just all made sense and very intricate. So all of that was very intriguing. And so I recall just always putting those albums on and learning everything. You know, that was kind of a goal, was to learn the entire album, Moving Pictures, you know, and then moving on from there. And those were things that I think definitely took my drumming to another level, and would say definitely he would be one of my main teachers in that sense. Yeah. But I did take some early teaching. A little bit of jazz drumming and stuff and fundamentals with a guy named Pat Burke. local guy, amazing drummer.
Pat
And
Burke, okay.
I learned a lot from him early on, studied under him for a few years. Norm Leggio from Psychotic Waltz.
Yeah, dude. I worked with him over at Guitar Center.
Okay, he studied under Pat Burke as well.
There you go.
And
a legend, yeah. Norm's killing it.
Norm, yeah. I'll probably see him in a little while because I have to go to Guitar Center. So,
Is he still over there?
Yeah, he is.
Right on.
Yeah.
I think he has rehearsal studios now. He had Blue Meanie, right?
He
Didn't
did.
he own that? But I think he converted.
Yeah,
he
it-
sold that, and then I think he has
Turned it into rehearsal spaces.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Norm's the man. Shout out to Norm and
Yes.
Psychotic Waltz.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, dude. So other than the show Saturday, what else is going on with Sprung, man? Do you guys have any plans to tour? Do you have any new songs? Are you jumping in the studio? Anything new happening?
Well, the show, obviously, you know, definitely want to
It's
plug
going down,
that.
dude. Saturday Music Box. Yeah.
Saturday Music Box. I think doors are at 7. Us
Right.
and Bucko 9.
Bucko 9 and T.I. Reed Dread. What's he all about?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
I'll insert him in the podcast.
Yeah,
and-
I mean, it wasn't. We didn't put him on the show, or like it was kind of they kind of came in somehow. I think the promoter
Sure.
probably put him
Yeah,
on. But
probably,
we're
right.
you know I'm stoked to see him and discover something different that I haven't
Absolutely.
heard.
Sure.
But yeah, we're super excited for the show because I think people are pumped that it's two bands that did play together and have made their mark on the scene and are
Yeah.
coming back together. You know, it's
Sure.
a very old school feel to it, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
And because of that, in part, we're going to be playing a lot of the older stuff too. So
Right on.
with some of the newer, you know, mixed in, of course, but I think a little bit more of like the first album, second album stuff, which is really cool.
Right on, dude. Very
And
cool.
so other than that, yeah, like after the show, really I think the goal is right now, because we took a little break for a while.
Yeah,
and-
when was your last show? I want to say it was like December 2017 I saw, right? So about a year and a half ago?
Yeah, we haven't played in. This is the longest we've gone in several years.
Okay.
You know, we've been pretty steady, but took some time off, and now we're back in the mix, practicing regularly again. This show, and now starting to write some new music.
Right on,
And
dude.
so yeah, I think the next goal is to just get back in the studio, keep it going, and write riffs and work on parts and figure out some new music, and then eventually get something out at some point.
Cool,
and then,
dude.
of course, you know, still gig here and there.
Absolutely. And we were talking before the podcast how diverse Sprung Monkey is. Where do you think the new sound is headed? I mean, you guys have those get 'em out of here radio hits, kind of, what would you consider that? Alt rock?
Yeah,
even
with
I don't
pop,
know,
really.
right?
There's
pop,
some
a little
pop
more
melodies.
And then you guys got the hard, heavier,
Yeah.
almost metal, dude. I
Yeah,
would say. So-
absolutely. Punk and metal feel to it, you know,
Right.
like especially with the album Dead is Dead. I mean, that was definitely
the song
our-
"Dead Is Dead," bro, is like
Yeah.
super hard.
And you know, it was cool because that was kind of, it just organically happened that way.
Right.
We didn't force it. We were just like,
Yeah.
what are we feeling like?
You guys
know,
were
at the
pissed off
time.
at that time. No,
I think some people
Steve
would
was pissed,
definitely
bro.
think
No.
that. No, I mean, it just really, that was what's coming out, you know, it was coming
Yeah.
out naturally.
Sure.
So it ended up being a very heavy album. Prior to that, if you notice, most of our albums kind of have peaks and valleys. You know, you have your really heavy shit, you know, stuff.
yeah, no, you're good. It's R-rated.
All right, I figured.
Earmuffs.
So you know, you got your really heavy stuff, and then you got your mid level kind of stuff, and then you got some of your more pop,
Right.
alt rock kind of stuff. So it's all over the place a little bit. But this album was just like, man, it was just very linear in that sense, you know, where it just really stayed on that direction of just heavy, but punk rock meets metal kind of thing.
Cool.
So the newer stuff, who knows, you know, because we
Yeah.
don't, that's one thing, we never set out to try to do something on purpose. Like it wasn't like, this is what we got to write or this is what we have to write. It just, whatever at the time, you know, seems to be,
Organically kinda flows,
and that's how we work. So there's no telling where, you know, some new material may go. But I will say from some of the new riffs that we're kind of like, you know, working with and some of the melodies, definitely still on the heavy side, but I have a
Right.
feeling that we'll probably have a little bit more melodic stuff too as well, because we've always been huge fans of melody. You know, that's
Right.
one thing, like, it's cool to be heavy and all that, but also we love to have melody and involved in there somewhere.
You want to write that next hit for that next fucking teeny bopper movie too, bro, right?
I mean,
keep those royalties coming.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that, dude.
No, there isn't
really
anything
isn't.
wrong with that. But I mean, to be honest, that's like such a crapshoot.
Yeah.
The industry is in such a different place than it was back then.
Let's talk about that, dude. I mean, how do you feel it's changed in 30 years in social media and MP3s? I remember in 99 when I heard the term MP3, I think it was 99. I was like, what the fuck is that? Compressed what?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Remember mp3.com?
Yes, totally, dude. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, we are now, it's unbelievable how different it is. It's upside down. I mean, who would have thought, really that technology, I mean, I suppose now in hindsight should have figured, but at the time you just don't even think, that something could change so much because of technology, but it's completely turned everything upside down.
Totally.
What you knew then is not what you know now and what you need to know now. And because of that, in a lot of ways, I feel for new musicians because and young musicians that are starting bands or artists in general, because it's incredibly tough. You don't have labels with a lot of clout and money coming to you and saying, we love what you're doing, we want to sign you, and here's $150,000 advance, here's another $100,000 for a video, and this is what we're willing to do for marketing and budget, another $100,000. I mean, these are the things we got, Unwritten Law and all these bands, Buck 09, we all got big deals back in the day.
Right.
And these days, forget about it. That does not exist. It just does not. For one, labels are gone. It's, it's down to literally just a few, less than a handful that really do it. And
I mean, let's mention like the epitaphs and the fat records and stuff like that. The chances of getting on those labels, dude.
The chances of doing something on a commercial level with being on a label like that these days it's just very, very difficult. It's like winning the lottery now. It's always been kind of like a lottery thing, but with a label with clout and lots of money, it's a very strategic. You have a good shot.
Right
now, it's like, man, if you don't have that, the flip side is now what you have is social media.
Right.
So you can do your own thing. You have YouTube. You have all these things. And streaming now is, obviously where everything's going.
Right.
But it still doesn't transcend to most of the time as to what it did back in the day. Like it just seems to be a lot tougher for artists these days to do it on their own and to rely on YouTube and to rely, because sure, if something goes viral, great. But that's very difficult to do, to get millions and millions of hits on something, whether you're streaming it or whether, you know what I mean? There still has to be something that catapults that.
Right.
It doesn't just happen by chance for the most part.
Sure.
So I just feel for artists because they ask me all the time. I get young artists all the time like,
I'm going to quit playing in a band. You just talked me out of it.
Not what I'm saying.
No.
But
And we don't mean to discourage local musicians.
No.
We have a lot of locals that listen on here and that probably, of course, look up to you guys. Is there any advice for locals? I mean, other than just keep fucking playing and keep putting music out there? I mean, do you have any tips?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the obvious is just continue to do what you do. Utilize social media to your advantages for sure, as much as you possibly can, because it's an amazing tool.
It is pretty cool that you can click and upload your song nowadays, and it's worldwide instantly. But is the whole world gonna?
That's the thing. You can be on Spotify, right? And that's an incredible medium, for instance. But getting people to come and listen to your song, that's the key. Having it there is one thing. Getting people to actually notice and know it's there, and then on top of that, having it where it becomes viral or a hit or whatever, that's just another level of what you need to do. But beyond that, really the key is play live too. Playing live has always been very, very important for a band to do. Get out there, tour your ass off, play your ass off, because that's going to transcend more than anything else, is playing in front of people. People will walk away and remember that you were good that way more, I think, than any other way, unless, like I said, by chance you have a viral video on YouTube that gets 30 million views. Well, great. But how often does that happen? Very little. I mean, almost never. So having said that, you got to get out there. Don't lose hope by any means. Just be realistic and know that you're not going to, like we were able to, get handed, $400,000, $500,000, $500,000 deal.
Were you? Wow.
Yeah, that's the
90s,
deals that we got.
98 after Get 'Em Out of Here, or before that?
Well, no. When we got signed to Hollywood Records,
right,
that's what the deal was worth.
Okay, I think that was like 95 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But once again, that's what took us there.
Right.
Why? Because
Right.
they spent so much money on marketing. They spent so much money on touring. They had the in on MTV.
Right.
They had all these connections because they're a powerful label. So now you don't have that. Artists don't have that for the most part. So you take that out of the equation, it's going to be really difficult. Not impossible by any means, but very difficult. And then because of that, also another thing that changed and really is upside down now is because of the streaming and all that, album royalties and album sales aren't important anymore. Right. Nobody's buying albums. Nobody, people download songs. Most of the time, they don't even download your whole album. They download
Spotify
one or two songs they like on iTunes, or they stream your music, which is great. But you're not going to get a lot of revenue from streaming.
0.02 cents per stream.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a whole different...
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a whole different game as far as that. So, these days, you make your money touring and merchandise. That's so key,
There's a decent return on investment with merchandise, with shirts.
For sure.
$5-6 a shirt. You sell them for 20 on the road or something, yeah.
Bands can make thousands on their merchandise if it's done right, for sure.
Great advice, dude. It's would you consider yourself the brains of Sprung Monkey? Are you going to take that credit?
I would just say that I definitely...
You pushed them?
Yeah, I'm the one that, to this day, I co-manage the band.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And are you currently on a label?
No.
Okay.
We did a one-album deal with Pacific Records for Dead is Dead. So that was purely a one-album deal. And then, so now we're basically open again to do whatever. And we don't know what we'll do, next in that sense. But... Right. I'm.
You mentioned the co-manager. You co-manage. You kind of push the band a little bit, huh?
I run the business of the band. So anything from booking.
I get that vibe.
I've always had this kind of insight into that world, and so somebody had to do it. When we had managers and we had management for years, and at some point we kind of decided, we're not as active as we were. There's no reason to really have that, right? And I took it on from there.
Plus, it's your baby. You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna love that more than you,
right? And one of us had to do it at the end, and I just kind of stepped up, and it was something that interested me because I know most guys don't like it at all. They don't want to have to deal with any of the business. Let me play, and that's it. And I get that. That's cool. I can't be that guy because I need to know all the I got to make sure that
control it.
Yeah, well, I just got to make sure that because at the end of the day, it's still a business. It's not just playing. If you just want to play, have at it.
Right.
But because we have had success, we still make money when we play. We still make, you know what I mean. There's still a worth to the band. So if there's a worth to the band, I need to make sure the business is intact and the business is getting what it should.
Right on. Yeah, very cool. Have both of your deals been good? Have you left on good terms with Pacific and Hollywood?
Pacific, absolutely.
Hollywood was kind of...
Hollywood, I don't even know, man. It was it's still strange to me, to be honest with you. They're such a big machine. And I don't even know if they're around anymore.
Okay. I won't tag them in this or anything.
Yeah,
like
don't tag them on. No, but they were owned by Disney. So,
wow.
Yeah, they have Disney money.
Holy cow.
They had hundreds of millions to spend on bands.
Like petty cash for the bands, huh? Let's do this on the side,
Yeah, and at the time when we got signed by them, do you remember, is it Smashball? Is that a band?
Smash Mouth?
No, not Smash Mouth. I can't think of their name.
Smashball.
They had a hit, too.
Okay.
During the same time that Get 'Em Out of Here was a hit.
Okay. Based out of San Diego?
No.
Okay.
But they were on Hollywood Records. They got signed. Another band that got a big deal on Hollywood Records and did well. God, I can't think of the name. I could totally hear the song in my head. That was a hit. But anyway.
Sing it, bro. You're the drummer, bro. Don't do it. No.
I do sing backup vocals. So
that's right, you do.
Yeah. But yeah, so
they treated this band that you're thinking of well, or what happened with that band under Hollywood?
Oh, I don't really know what them. I don't know where I was going with that. Other than I think what I was going to say is that basically with them, something happened. The label, either Disney probably just shelved it. I'm not sure, but our album, which was, granted, and think about it, strange, the biggest album we had, which was Mr. Funny Face, which had Get Him Out of Here, which the hit, all of it is shelved. They shelved it. If you go on iTunes, you cannot purchase Mr. Funny Face, and I can't tell you
on Spotify. It's not on Spotify.
No, and I can't tell you how many people are like, "Why isn't this album available? It's your biggest album. It makes no sense."
So you can't download that song anywhere? You can find it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I mean, you
Get
can
them out of here, and
and you can still find the disc, here and there. But the fact that the label just said, we don't care, because it's nothing to them, but to us, it means a lot,
right?
But because they own the rights, there's nothing we can do. No,
wow.
But we were very fortunate in the fact that we own our first album, of course. So we put that up on iTunes, so that's why that's available. Surf Dog owns Swirl, and they make that available, which is great. That was the first indie we were signed to. And then we own, I'll give you a cool little story.
Yeah.
So, Get a Taste, right?
98, right?
I don't know.
That's all good.
It's been so many years, bro. It's been a lot of years. But no, we signed a deal with Redline Records.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they were owned by Best Buy. So they had Best Buy money. And we actually got
corporate money,
Yeah, pretty big deal with them as well. And what happened with Get a Taste was it was coming off of Mr. Funny Face, right? Our biggest album. So Get a Taste, we did a deal with Redline. And then ended up that at some point, Best Buy basically said, we're closing the door on Redline. There's not going to be any more Redline records. It was just something. It was almost like a project. They wanted to see what they could do in the record business, right? Because they have money.
Sure.
So they're like, pour $100 million into this and see what it does. So
that must be nice.
Yeah. So we got signed, which was cool. Well, Gary Arnold was the president of the company, and rest his soul because he's no longer with us, and he was such an amazing guy. But he really just loved the band, and I ended up actually staying at his place one night because we had to go shoot a video, and I was doing this part for the video. Make a long story short, I ended up building pretty good rapport with him, and he always loved the band, and we'd run into each other here and there. I ran into him at a U2 concert one night, and it was just random. Anyway, through the years, we've kind of always, stayed in touch and had this rapport that was cool. Well, when Best Buy decided to close doors on Redline, they did what no label really does, especially if they have put a lot of money into you, like Hollywood. I get a phone call from Gary, and he says, "Look, we're no longer a label. Best Buy is not going to do this anymore. But we own your masters. We have the rights to this album, but I want to give them back to you."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He reverted the rights back to us for nothing. He said, "Here, it's your album. We're not going to do it." Now, that's what Hollywood should have done.
Right,
to be
that's
honest
what
with
I was
you.
going to say, yeah.
But they didn't.
That's the generous and common sense thing to do.
Yes, and so it was an amazing gesture and action that Gary did. And I can't tell you how we couldn't thank him enough, because that's something that doesn't happen in the industry.
Right.
So we've owned that album for years now, and that's why that's available, is because we've made it available, and it was all thanks to him. So that was pretty amazing for him to do that.
That is very cool. Did you guys ever talk to Suburban Noise?
I think at some point, because we know
Cottonmouth Kings and Mixed Mob even,
which we've toured with, Cottonmouth Kings quite a bit as well.
Have you? Yeah.
We did Japan with them, and then we did a lot of the U.S. with them, and
awesome.
Yeah, and so I know that we had talked
some talks,
to them, and we know Kevin Zinger very well.
Right, Kevin.
And so there's definitely been something in I'm sure back in the history of all that, but never, for whatever reason, just never did anything on an album level.
Yeah, cool. You guys have had an amazing career, man, and thanks for sharing all that. I think locals will love to hear all this, dude. And we're just gonna do a couple quick segments with you, and then we'll let you enjoy your Sunday. All right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, brother. Rapid fire. Just some random questions thrown at you. Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Me too.
100%.
Green Day or Blink?
Green Day.
Yeah, okay.
Dude.
Fuck the local boys.
No, it's not even about that, but
I would say Green Day as well.
Green Day has transcended into, I mean, let's face it, they went from a pop punk band to an amazing classic, live forever, you'll never forget.
They're amazing.
I mean, they're just a legendary band now.
And better live, I would say. And
Oh
they're
my
doing
God.
they're doing Broadway shit now too, bro. American Idiots on
but that's a great documentary if you've never seen it. The whole making of the Broadway.
Oh, cool! I'll have to check
American
it out,
Idiot.
dude.
It's awesome. But I mean, that album, seriously, it just was like,
one of the
are you
most
kidding
amazing
me?
punk albums ever, dude. I think.
Yeah, and it just really solidified how great of songwriters they are. How great and live. Yes, I'll have to agree with you. We've done shows with them.
100%.
And,
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow,
and,
crazy.
And man, they just bring it. They're like one of the best shows you could see. I think live.
They're very good. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Ooh, man, that is really
That's a tough one, huh?
That's a tough one because I love both bands for different reasons.
Right.
Oh my God.
We ask the tough questions on this podcast.
Yeah,
bro.
dude, that one's not tough. I mean, that one's not even fair because I want to say Nirvana because, I mean, oh man.
I wish I would have seen more from Nirvana.
That's what I was gonna
obviously.
say.
I mean, that's the consensus, I think.
And that's why it's not fair.
But
because Nevermind is one of the best albums ever, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just freaking
put it up there, groundbreaking,
amazing.
and it really changed
really
everything.
is.
Yeah.
The production, everything about it.
Yeah, we get people hating on Pearl Jam a lot. There's a lot of Eddie Vedder haters out there that come on.
How can you hate Eddie
to
Vedder?
each their own. It's that's music for you. It's subjective.
Guess.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's an amazing singer.
I'm a Pearl Jam fan, dude.
Yeah,
for
Pearl Jam's
sure.
amazing.
I hear their fucking sound, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, and he's a San Diego guy. Come on,
he is.
The local boy.
Yeah,
but okay.
You have to pick one, bro.
Like Desert Island stuff, right? Like I can only take one band. Okay, I'm gonna take Pearl Jam because they have more catalog.
Them over Soundgarden, also.
No, Soundgarden.
Soundgarden over both.
Yes.
Okay.
Chris Cornell is just just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable. And I'm a huge Soundgarden fan.
Favorite band to come out of San Diego? Or favorite local band? Do you listen to local music at all? A little bit here and there?
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day more so, I think, when all, during our time is coming up, for sure.
Yeah, there's some obvious answers, I think, for you. But to come out of San Diego, who would you say is your favorite?
POD. I'm really good friends with all those guys too, which is, so it's been awesome to see them do their thing.
And again, you did play drums for Accident Experiment, right?
Yeah, obviously
with
Marcos and I. Yeah, Marcos
so
and
you're
I.
very close with Marcos, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I'm gonna say POD.
There you go. Good answer.
Yeah,
absolutely. And those guys are still playing? They just play locally? Yeah.
Big time. They're doing really well, which is awesome. They're killing it in Europe, killing it in South America.
Right on.
So
that's great to
really
see.
Cool.
My boys from Boss Fight opened for them. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I recorded the drums on the album.
That's right. You did.
I did. That's so funny you mentioned that,
bro.
Yeah,
Dave told me that, and that totally slipped my mind. Yeah,
which that's cool you mentioned that because I did
that is you.
I did the session, which I've done. That's another thing I've done for years now is a lot of session work. But they were one of the bands that I recently did.
Are you still doing session work?
Not as much as I was, but I did quite a bit in the last few years.
Because I was looking to fire my drummer soon. So, no, just kidding.
Hey,
shout out Morgan. Let's see. We're moving on here. One album on an island. One album, dude. Your favorite album.
Oh, any
comes
band.
To mind. Yeah, any band, dude. Yeah.
No, we're not local right now.
Anything, bro. A white album you want to bring out there, or
only one album, not even a band, not one band.
Yeah, you can bring a band, bro.
Can we do one band?
I don't know how we're gonna get electricity on this island, dude, but we'll make it happen. No,
one band.
Radiohead.
Radiohead.
No shit. Okay.
I'm a huge Radiohead fan. They absolutely stole me with OK Computer, releasing OK Computer.
Ridiculous.
Just, monumental album.
Right.
And then to go from that to, in my mind, and in critics' minds, I think, and fans of theirs, to go from that to Kid A,
right,
monumental but so drastically different. Bands don't do that. Bands can't do that. There's very, very few bands in the history that can really reinvent themselves and create two masterpieces, timeless masterpieces that are so different from each other, but yet incredible. So I would say Radiohead.
I haven't seen them live. That's another question on here. Your best concert that you've seen?
Well, there's different categories. I will say Radiohead absolutely, and only why? Because they are so incredibly sonically.
Yeah.
They're just so good live, as players.
Right.
And they so that's always great. They're not necessarily the band you want to see moving and that kind of thing.
Right.
But man, if you're there to listen to the music and you're a huge fan of their songs, anytime, as soon as they go into the next song, you're like, oh my God, this is so good. It sounds like the freaking album, but with a twist, of course.
Nice.
So Radiohead, absolutely.
Right on.
Green Day, like we're saying,
right
I would
on,
highly
dude.
recommend.
Shout out to Green Day. I'd say that's my favorite band, for
Dude,
sure.
they're amazing.
All in all, them. I'm a big Rise Against fan.
Rise Against is great.
Harder punk.
Yeah.
But we always make it a point to see Green Day, and if you haven't seen them, oh my God, man, they're
You
just
have to. That's a must.
They're next level, real
Billy Joe
stadium rock, dude. You want to see them in a big arena, which they always play now. But
right, it's crazy too because the first time I saw them was at Soma.
Me too, bro. I was probably there. The old one,
the
right?
old
Marina?
one. Yeah, before they blew up.
Yeah, I saw that. That was the first time I crowd surfed.
Wow,
Threw my
we
shoes
were
at
both
Billy
there.
Joe and shit, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, how crazy.
Was that with Everclear?
Was it with them? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was for. It was.
Right on,
it was for Dookie. It was right before.
Yeah, I want to say 94, right?
Yeah.
Or 95, something.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool, man. What is a most memorable show to date for Sprung Monkey, man? When
Memorable
you look back.
show.
Yeah. 27 years of playing the world.
There's one that just because there's so many.
Sure.
But one that I could say that has never left my memory and it's something I think about to this day when I get asked this question or when as a band we're reminiscing. First tour we did in Australia.
Nice.
And we played. It was our first show, and it was
in Australia or just in general.
In Australia.
Yeah.
And there was this venue that we played, and it was probably, I want to say 400 or 500 capacity.
Sure.
Like
a brick by brick.
A brick by brick size.
Yeah. Okay.
Packed to the gills. They could not fit anyone else in that place. It was just, in fact, it was sold out.
Nice.
Days before we even showed up, and the energy that night I've rarely experienced. It was just like. It was like constant movement, but because there were so many people, there wasn't a mosh pit,
right?
Because there couldn't be.
Yeah,
there wasn't space for it. It was just movement, so cool, and they were so close to the stage, and I just remember that, and it was during every song, in between songs, it was consistently just like a wall of energy, and then it was so packed that at one point the only thing people could do was crowd surf, get on top of. So
on top of each other.
Yes.
No more standing room.
The people, the building wasn't that tall.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much space, and I just remember the people that were surfing could touch the ceiling, and so you got these people all over. It looked like they were on the ceiling. It was.
Wow.
To this day, I've. That's one of the ones that was
Very cool.
wow, to experience that was just, it made my career.
Very
it
cool.
really was worth it.
Were you headlining?
Yeah, that was our own. That was our own headlining
though.
tour. Every show was us headlining, and it was our first tour. So I think it was because every show was like that, but this one was memorable a little bit more. I think, like I said, because the venue was a little smaller than most.
Sure.
So getting everybody in there, it's almost like they were like fire code. Who gives a shit? Let's just get him in here. You know what I mean? It was one of those nights. There was definitely well beyond fire code.
What's a favorite local venue?
Local venue. I really like the Music Box.
Right on.
I gotta say,
you played there a few times.
Yeah, we played there once.
Okay.
And just absolutely loved playing there. I've seen a show there before, loved it. So it definitely that would be up there. I also like the Casbah a lot.
Sure. Legendary.
Yeah, legendary. And I think it's, for some reason, that room always sounds great.
It does sound good.
I don't know what it is, if it's acoustics or a combination of acoustics and the sound system they have there. But
sound guy and everything,
yeah, it always sounds really good in there. Cool vibe.
Yeah, Casbah gets a lot of love, man. That's a good venue.
Yeah.
And it's been around for what, since 60s?
Yeah, it's like, it's our troubadour or our, you know.
Yeah. I saw UL there recently within the last few years, Unwritten Law.
At
the Casbah.
Oh, wow.
They played the
cool.
Casbah a few years ago, yeah. Yeah, it was very
cool.
Biggest pet peeve when playing a show?
Yeah, well, I think one of them would have to be, one thing that really gets to me is if I can't hear vocals or guitars in my monitor.
Right, monitors.
It's so difficult to play.
Right.
You know, you're like literally struggling to hear where the hell are we in the song, you know, and if you're off, good luck trying to find it. So yeah, that would be one. I mean, there's been so many nights where I'm like, turn up the guitars,
right?
More vocals, you know, like please. Yeah, that would be one.
Flipping off the sound guy. No. What's a band you want to see live that you haven't?
Band that I haven't seen. I can tell you a band that I wish I would have seen before they were no longer.
Right.
Which is definitely
a lot come to mind.
Definitely top 5 bands of all time. Pink Floyd.
There you go.
Like even without Roger Waters, when they came here and they played Jack Murphy Stadium when it was Jack Murphy.
Yeah.
Check this out. This is something I regret.
Yeah.
I had a ticket. I sold it.
Shit.
Somebody offered me a good amount of money, and I was like, sure. And to this day, I kick myself because, you know, it was still with Gilmore. It was still the rest of the guys.
Right.
You know, and of course they were doing all the older stuff. Yeah. So that would have been amazing. I wish I would have seen them. Experiences
outweigh money sometimes, huh?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
In hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure I used it for something stupid.
Right.
You know? Like it was definitely not a good move.
Some drum equipment or something.
No, not even that good.
Yeah. We won't get into that shit. No. So moving on here, just a few more minutes, brother.
No worries, man. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, right on.
So
chill vibe back here, huh?
I gotta say,
you got your beer. It's Cinco de Mayo.
It doesn't get much better than the environment here. Like
right
this
on.
Is super chill and cool.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Thanks a lot. I've done a lot of podcasts myself with bands and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And fucking nothing beats this, bro.
Dude, no. And honestly, I'd totally come back in a heartbeat. So
right on, dude. I'd love to have the band back to jam, and if you want to talk to Steve, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Do a couple acoustic songs, but
I told everybody about it, but everybody's got stuff going on and
shit. Yeah.
No, I just think
everyone's busy.
Yeah, and I granted I do live the closest,
right,
geographically. So
right on. What's your hobby outside of music, dude? What are you into outside of music?
Photography is definitely probably my next love.
You shoot bands?
No.
Okay.
I do my own stuff. I do a lot of landscape photography, architectural. I still travel a lot.
Okay.
My wife and I go to Europe every year a few times.
Right on, bro.
We travel. We go to Maui. We go, you know. And so, in fact, I just got back from Maui. But
did you?
Yeah.
Sweet. We did Kauai last year, so.
Oh, awesome.
I'm trying to get back there, but.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Shit isn't cheap, bro.
No, it's not. It's not, but it's so worth it. I mean,
it is.
One thing I learned, not to get off topic, but one thing I learned from being in this band and all the traveling that I got to do is to love to travel and to really appreciate what it is to experience other parts of the world.
Yeah.
I realize most people don't get to, and so I feel definitely beyond blessed to have been able to go all over the world. But that passion, love trend has just kept going. It's never stopped. So I still travel a lot, and so photography became kind of something I started doing when I was actually touring with another band. I don't know if you're familiar with Mondo Generator.
Yeah, I've heard of them, man.
I've been so high, I've been so high, I've been so low, I've been so high.
Okay, so I toured with them in Europe for a while.
You played with them?
Yes.
Okay. Another side project?
Yeah. It's Nick Oliveri from Queens of the Stone Age, the original bass player. It's his band.
Oh, very cool.
He also plays with the Dwarves. So Mondo Generator is his thing, and they're actually pretty big in Europe. And I didn't even know this, but I got a tip on the fact that they needed a drummer.
Nice.
And I went and auditioned in LA, got the gig. And next thing you know, like a month later, we're off playing, like all over like Eastern Bloc Europe, which was amazing because I would probably never would have gotten there, like Croatia, Bulgaria.
Dang.
I mean, we were playing really exotic places, and it was amazing. And cool. So I did that, and then during that tour, I started really shooting, just with a simple little point and shoot.
Yeah.
And I really started loving taking pictures. And this was, I think, 2012. I toured with them. And then we did Ozfest and all that. But anyway, now it's taken up on a whole new level last 3 years.
Your
and
photography.
I do a lot of landscape, like I said, architecture. I do a lot of sunsets, those kind of things.
That's awesome, bro.
And I sell a lot of my work, which is cool. I've had a few gallery showings as well.
Dope,
and
bro.
so it's kind of definitely my other artistic love and passion.
Yeah. Do you have any galleries coming up, or is that what it's called, gallery? Any shows, or where can we see your work? Your photography. Is it online?
Yeah, okay. I am. I primarily use my Instagram for it.
Perfect.
So, you can find me at Ernie Longoria 1, the number 1. So Ernie Longoria 1.
Check it out on Insta,
and all my stuff is on there. And that's kind of my gallery, so to speak, to show my stuff.
Yeah.
I did have a website for a bit, but now I'm just using Instagram because I find that it's just the best way. And so I have done, like I said, last year I did a couple gallery showings. And previous years I've done them. I don't have anything booked at the moment, but safe to say I will be doing some more for sure.
Right on, brother. Thanks for sharing that. We're gonna dream. We're gonna dream. All right, just a few more questions here. Sure. We're gonna dream under the Palapa. If you could tour with any current band, who would you choose?
And when you say tour, like Sprung tour with them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rise Against would be.
There you go. Right on, bro.
Yeah, they're killer, man. They're a great band, great live too.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Really good.
If you could bring a musician back from the dead, who would you pick?
Ooh,
and we get the Kurt Cobains, and we get
the
Kurt. Yeah,
Kurt would be an amazing choice, but I have to say, for me, it would be Jeff Buckley.
There you go.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I don't think we've gotten that on here, dude. Yeah,
dude, Jeff Buckley is one of my favorite artists, singers of all time. Easily, the album Grace would be a desert island disc. Absolutely.
There you go.
If you're not familiar with it, you gotta listen to Grace. It's incredible.
If you could wave a magic wand and make one band never exist, who would you choose?
I could tell you a band I could do without. Bare Naked Ladies.
Okay.
I just, you know what I mean? Like
Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken.
Yeah, I could do without them.
We retired Nickelback and we retired Imagine Dragons, bro, because they got hated on so much here.
I can see the Nickelback for sure.
I can see Nickelback.
Creed would be another, I'm sure, that's
hated on a lot
big on
too.
the list.
Yeah, that's funny, bro.
I think Bare Naked Ladies would be one.
Good
for
answer.
Me.
I like it. We'll blow them away now.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
3 bands to headline your ultimate dream festival. Who would you pick? I mean, I guess it'd be your 3 favorite bands.
2 headline all together, though, on the same festival?
All together on the same. Who would you,
But different nights? Could I do that?
Sure, bro. Yeah,
okay,
it's your festival.
Radiohead would headline one night. Police Reunion.
There you go.
Would headline, and because they have played recently, so that's not far-fetched.
One of your biggest influences, Police,
Yeah, and they're just amazing live. I
haven't seen them. I don't know if I will.
And
I won't.
Yeah,
right?
maybe not. I mean,
maybe Sting solo, but yeah.
Yeah. I love Sting solo. But and my third one would probably be, I've seen them a million times, and maybe cliche, but U2.
There you go.
I'm a big U2 fan. I love U2.
A classic rock guy, really, huh?
Yeah, and I love like Radiohead would be the one that's not out of that. But,
True.
But they have a classic sound in that sense, where
absolutely
timeless in that way. But I think some of the best bands ever, man. And I don't think I'm just saying that in a biased way, but really, when it comes down to it, think about it. Like, how many Pink Floyds are there in the world?
Right.
Or bands that you could even put on that stature? How many Rushes? How many Zeppelins? Right. How many Pink Floyds? There just isn't.
True.
Like, there's very few and far between moments where we get bands that special. And 70s and the 80s into the 90s, we were fortunate to get some of those bands. And these days, you got a few. You got U2. You got Radiohead.
Yeah.
Bands like that. Coldplay. Some people would say Coldplay's in that mix. I think older
for timeless kind of future classic rock, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, it's been a pleasure chilling with you.
It's been a pleasure doing this, man. Absolutely. Let's do it again, for sure.
We've been going back and forth on social media, and I think we've rubbed elbows throughout the years, man. But it's really nice to kind of sit down and chill with you, dude, and get to know you more. You're a cool dude.
Likewise.
You seem to be a very smart dude and business savvy, and I think that reflects the success with Sprung Monkey.
Well, thank you. I take that as a very big compliment.
Yeah, of course.
And thank you for contacting us to do this,
brother.
Maybe next time we can get everybody here, and that would be something a little different as well. Perhaps we can do something acoustic if you guys do that kind of thing. I think you do. So
we usually do, yeah. Palapalooza, it's kind of a play on Lollapalooza, So we have local bands under here, and they rock their stuff out acoustic. And but yeah, I'd love to have you guys back, dude. Of course,
Okay.
You're always welcome over, bro.
Then
of course.
consider it done.
Right
Absolutely.
on, right on, brother. Where would you guys like to be, man? In 5 years, say 5-10 years, are you on the right track?
Well, I said,
you guys have done a lot. Dude.
Yeah, like I said, these days it's a little different. These days,
right.
It's kind of like we've been there, done that. So these days it's all about playing for the love of it, playing for the fans, playing for our own fulfillment of being a musician. That's kind of where it's at.
Right on,
and for myself, if just personally, that would kind of be it for me. I want to keep playing because I love it. I will do other projects if something comes up, or sessions, things like that. On not the band side, I will continue to do photography and travel, and I cook. I cook a lot as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that would be probably my third.
Your
hobby.
wife loves you.
Yeah, she does none of the cooking, and I do all of it, and she absolutely does love it. So
right on.
But it's cool
brother.
because I love it, So. But that's kind
good
of
advice for locals too, man. I think you obviously have to have a passion for it. That's good advice for myself as well.
Yeah.
If you're not loving what you're doing, your odds of really making a lot of money as a musician are pretty low. Not to discourage anyone out there, but I think passion and love comes first and foremost, and then
and that's what's great is when when you go to let's say, on a random night and you walk into a little dive bar, right?
Right.
And you see this band or an artist that's playing his heart out, and you can tell and you can feel it.
Right.
And you know that they're there living that moment because they love it. You can't create that out of, nothing other than just pure passion. And when you see that, it's inspiring because you're like, man, this guy's making probably like nothing tonight. You know what I mean? Like he's probably getting like free beer and maybe a meal, maybe gas money, but it doesn't matter because he's killing it on stage, or they're killing, you know what I mean? And the passion and love comes through for just the music and the purity of it.
Right. No, absolutely, man. Rosedale comes to mind. He's a buddy that rehearses right down the street, and he's from Canada, and he cruises around in his trailer, bro, and like goes from town to town and just is always on the road touring. He's just super passionate and talented, and I think if you have that, it really shows, like you said, on stage. You
know what? I believe some of the happiest people in the world are those kind of people that do what they love, because their fulfillment and their joy is coming from doing what they love, and they're not worried about the money. They're not worried about, the fast pace of life and all that. They really get to, there's a lot to be said for people like that, that are willing to, in a sense, or compromise, a lot of what we find to be, important, to really do just what you love.
Right.
Like there's one guy that comes to mind. He's not a musician, but Slow-Mo down over
Of course, I just saw him, dude.
Yeah. There's a perfect example.
Wasn't he
of
a
that.
surgeon?
Yes. Have you ever seen his documentary?
No, I have to watch it though.
Dude, it's amazing.
He's a legend, yeah.
It really tells you what his life was about, why he changed and what he did, and like he let it all go.
He wanted to just slow life down, literally, right?
He walked away from a really big money-making career to just rollerblade. The simplest, it wasn't a lot he was asking for. He just wanted to be on the beach, live at the beach, and rollerblade every single day, and he's doing it.
Right.
Granted, he's a little different in the sense that he made a lot of money early on, so it kind of helped him do that. But nevertheless, he walked away from it. It wasn't like he was retired. He literally let a certain, luxury of life go to just do something he loved and made him happy, because that's what really made him happy.
So crazy.
So there's a lot to be said to that. You know?
That movie Into the Wild comes to mind, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he just drops everything and just walks into the fucking wild.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, the money game, it's a game, and it's a man-made game.
Yeah.
You know, cash and money and bills. It's these things were made by men.
Absolutely.
On this planet. I think there's different games in life, man,
For
that
sure.
you can play that
to
are
each his own, you know,
that are not material, and there's
Yeah.
different passions and energies that you can tap into in life. And
I do find that for me, you know, and I know we're getting a little philosophical now.
we're getting deep under the palapa here, bro. Palapalooza. No.
Yeah. Maybe we can start a new podcast.
Let's do it, brother. Yeah, I'm down.
But, you know, I think that the older I get, I find that I realize that those kinds of things, you know, the superficial and the materialistic kinds of things that were once really important, you know, and are to a lot, to me anyway, when I was younger, and to a lot of people when they're younger, really, for me, not speaking for myself, not for everybody, but I'm finding that they're really less important. You know, I think that, and maybe it's because also just realizing that we're not here that long, you know, and so really, what does all that matter when, you know, you can be gone at any second for any reason? You know what I mean? A huge rock could drop on this palapa and Palapalooza, we're out of here. You know what I mean?
Couple of Palapaloozers.
Right. But you know what I mean?
I hear that.
Like, and then it's done. And then, so what was it all for, right? Or you know, I mean, life's way too short to try to, you know, to be in this rat race and think that you have to accomplish this and have that and have that be really what is the most important things in your life, you know, when really it's like, when you're gone, you know, none of that goes with you. I mean, you know, it's done. Yeah. And I know, you know, people have different beliefs to what happens at that point, but nevertheless, you're not here. You know, we can agree all on that. Right. You're not in a physical body. And that game is done. Yeah. So to me, it's like I want to try to focus on what truly matters while you're here. You know, the things that are important, and that's not, you know, it's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. I'm no yogi here or anything, but you know,
there's some distractions, you know, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's the most difficult part is the distractions, and especially these days with social media and with you know, having computers with us all the time. I mean,
guilty for sure.
They're not phones. I don't know why we still call them phones.
No, they're not.
And you know, it's called an iPhone or whatever, but it's not a phone. You can do so much.
It's an extension of you.
It really
you know,
is.
People have become hybrids.
Yeah.
You know, they really have. I mean, I think Elon Musk was saying that all we have to do now is connect everything that is on your phone that you access through your phone to your brain. And you instantly have that access, and then bam, you're a hybrid, bro. You know, you are artificial intelligence. Hey, I think that's where we're headed, dude.
If Google has its way, if Amazon
they will be
Facebook,
in our brain.
That is where it's going.
In our frontal lobe, dude.
Absolutely. That is where it's going.
I don't know. Is that cool? Is that not? I don't know. That's another hour,
That
bro.
is another podcast.
Let's do it. Palapalooza coming soon. Dude, Ernie, really nice to chill with you, bro.
Hey, likewise,
honestly, dude. Thanks a lot for being here. Yeah, Saturday, again, the Music Box.
Yep, Music Box Saturday with
Sprung Monkey, dude, Buck09 and T.I.R.E. Dread. Yeah, and we'll play a snippet of him. But make it out. Buy your ticket now.
Yep.
Saturday going down.
Yep. Be there. Brother. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for being here. We are out.
Hooking up with the B-Dub crew. Lahaina setting up for a front row view. Knocking back laughs and a bottle or two. Just watching that ass as it rolls on through. Life is short, some better have like a rock star, kick a little rap. A cold one, snap a fat one in the midday. Slap a little laugh. Life is short, some better have like a rock star, party like a rock star. Cold one, snap a fat one in the SoCal loco. Nickel like an octane, soaking in my membrane. I might be cracked, but I still can't throw. So out come the dice, it's a 3-bone night. Banking at the table, fools still don't know. So I school a little crash course, show them what they're in for. People gather round for a ringside view. Hyping up the show, I shake them up and let them go. 4, 5, 6, bling, bling, CeeLo. Life is short, some better party like a rock star, kick a little crap. Good cold one, snap a fat one in the mid. Like a porn star, slap a little laugh. Life is short. day that I'm feeling real fine. Money in my pocket and girls on my mind. No, I'm not talking about a true romance. 1800 and a table dance. Because it's really kind of funny if you drop a little money, have the ladies start a buzzing like a Peters to the honey. It's all about making them hometown laughs. Party like a rock star, kick a little ass. Life is short, son, better party like a rock star, kick a little ass. The cold one, slap the fat one in the midday, slap a little ass. Life is short, son, better party like a rock star, kick a little ass. The cold one, snap the fat one in the SoCal, loco. Party like a rock star, kick a little ass. Life is short, son, better have some fun. 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 Life is short, son, better have some fun.
1, 2, 3, 4. Palapalooza, Palapalooza. We're talking to you. I'm Palapalooza.